Willard Gordon Galen Weston was a leader unlike any this country has ever known. He was the ninth and last child born to Garfield and Rita Weston in England in 1940 during the height of the Second World War. His large family bred a competitiveness in him, one that he exercised as a boy at Taylor Staton Camp in Algonquin Park, where he indulged his love of water and open spaces, and later as a rower, where he raced several times at the famed Henley Regatta in England as a young man.
With 8 older siblings and a childhood that saw him attend 12 schools on 3 continents, Dad was able to gain a deep appreciation for building relationships. When you move that much, you learn to get along with people. Otherwise, you're destined to lead a pretty lonely life. And he was not someone who was inclined to loneliness. He was full of energy. He wanted to meet people and to find out what was going on.
His appetite for building and improving first took root in Ireland, when Galen met his spiritual and energetic match in Hilary Frayne. After marrying, they together purchased the Brown Thomas chain of department stores and began turning it into the upscale fashion destination it continues to be today. Their early success with Brown Thomas was quickly followed by rebuilds of Ireland's power supermarket and Penneys discount chains. And then a move to Canada and Galen's biggest reinvention yet, Loblaws, a struggling grocery chain suffering from neglected stores and distribution centers, poor profit margins, and inferior products. To begin the transformation of Loblaws, he started by doing something seemingly counterintuitive, cutting their retail footprint in half, and saying to a journalist at the time, as a 200-store chain, we didn't look very good, but as a 100-store chain, we looked very good indeed. Concurrently, he hired Dave Nickel, Richard Curry, and Don Watt, a synthesis of product marketing, business strategy, and design thinking to revive the Loblaws business.
This team did far more than just rebuild Loblaws. They created the iconic President's Choice brand, and in the process, reinvented the idea of premium private label in Canada and around the world. I remember the first time he brought home a decadent chocolate chip cookie. Do you have any idea how much that many chocolate chips meant to me as a child?
Galen's appreciation of the power of design was an important factor in the successful transformation of Loblaw. From giant cookies on the side of 18-wheelers to what was at the time a radical decision to showcase food through gigantic in-store murals, Galen understood the power of big, bold, visual communication.
I'll never forget, someone told me once that your father is one of the few people I've met in my business career who can see around corners. And he used that instinct to reinvent how Canadians shop and how Canadians eat. Time and time again in his career, my father would cast off the way he did things before because he knew something better was coming. He liked to create places where people could enjoy themselves and express themselves. That was actually the idea behind our store at Maple Leaf Gardens. You know, to build the best supermarket in the world right here in downtown Toronto. He aspired to that. He had a constant energy to get people working in his business, myself included, to aspire to more.
Galen's influence on what we eat, what we wear, how we shop, and how we live is almost immeasurable. He elevated the Canadian consumer's expectations of what a grocery store should be, and it worked. Decades after assuming leadership of Loblaws, the company has a market valuation many times bigger than it was when he first took control. It is an unheard of legacy, one that has weathered global economic events and generational shifts that have shattered other companies in their wake. But under his leadership, his companies grew even stronger and more diversified over that time. It's a legacy that will be felt for generations.
Yeah, I'm often asked, what was the most important advice Dad gave me over the years? It's simple, really. If you do the right thing, things will work out. You may not win every time, but you will win over time.